And we're back, folks, for the weather part. Just an article from weather.com. Warning here, Lake Erie Beach in Ohio closes down. Sorry about that, Weather Channel.
Well, Lake Erie Beach in Huron, Ohio has been shut down after a second swimmer went missing in less than a month. And this was on Sunday, okay? Now, officials are blaming strong wind and high water levels at the lake, creating dangerous swimming conditions. And that makes a lot of sense, guys, because all of these Great Lakes, they've been running high because of all the snow melt. There was a lot of snow that fell, especially in the northern part of the country during the winter. That melted down. That made the water levels high. And then we've also had a pretty wet spring.
Okay. So, living in Buffalo, I can tell you something. And Mari and I, we have footage somewhere. I know we have. I actually have it saved in my iCloud, so I know I have it on my phone. We witnessed a event that I've never witnessed before because I don't live near the Great Lakes. Mari might have before, but this one was very odd. We knew there was some weather happening at Lake Erie in Buffalo, near Buffalo. We drove out to a site, and when we pulled up to where we could get a good view of Lake Erie, you would have thought you were looking at the raging seas of the Atlantic Ocean and the North Atlantic. The sun was out, gray dark clouds everywhere, the wind picks up, and it was blizzard-like conditions for 13 minutes. The problem was it was only 42 degrees outside, and we were seeing snowfall, and it was sticking to the trees and the grass. Of course, the surfaces, concrete, it was not sticking around to. I can't remember exactly what month. I'm pretty sure this was closer to spring, though. This was away from the winter months. But from the snow melt and the rain that we got starting last year, and remember we had the ice jam floods in Buffalo. I mean, it was a mess 2018 in Western New York. And I'm sure it was this year as well. But that was when we started to see Lake Erie's lakes starting to get a little bit higher, and wave actions were incredible. So to see this report and to hear the Weather Channel guy here talk about how the snow melt and the floods and how this is all contributed, again, this is truth and more proof about the Great Lakes area. Could be a bigger issue than we know at this point, especially around these shorelines as far as flooding goes. I've witnessed the ice chunks on Lake Erie when they were, that was during the same day, wasn't it? When we had the high, so we had the high winds, the ice chunks moving up on shore as if it was a tsunami, and then the snowfall. It was just a crazy weather event. So I wanted to mention this unfortunate situation where people lost their lives, but also to kind of shed light that we do need to be more aware of our Great Lakes just because of level rise, because of all the snow melt and rain, the floods. And I can only imagine how much more interesting this area will become as far as topic goes. Now, I don't expect any crazy lake effect snows for the coming fall because I don't think, I'll have to double check on the temperatures, but right now I don't think they're breaking any records when it comes to lake temperatures. And usually to get those really big lake effect snowfalls, you have to have some pretty warm waters and then all of a sudden a sudden rush of Arctic air pushing over the lakes that creates these snowmakers. And I'm telling you, Mari could attest to the 8-footer that she was involved in back in 2014, and I remember that snowstorm. I remember getting ready for work, shaking my head like, wow, 8 feet in 48 hours. So pointing that out, watching Lake Erie in Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania area, especially this winter, interesting to see how things shape out. Here's a look at our current satellite. Guys, kind of quiet in the weather world right now, which is good. We could use the break. All over the world we could use the break, but here in the US, we're not talking about anything in the tropics. There was a possible development area in the Gulf that quickly faded out. There was this other storm that we were kind of watching out there by Florida that had a 20% chance, and I don't think that's of any interest anymore. I don't know if Yeah, looking at this latest satellite edition, it's just nothing's getting organized out here. And I think the watch is off as far as any kind of major hurricanes or anything like that, any development whatsoever. But definitely have to keep watch. Yeah, right now NOAA is saying no threats whatsoever in the Atlantic or the Gulf. Very minimal watches out there right now and alerts. Again, this has been a very active season. And the month of July, since the mid-month, has kind of quieted down a little bit. And like I said, we need it. We got some shower activity in Iowa, across the Four Corners region, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, and the Sierras near California. Some light rain as well in southern Florida. Some heavier showers actually towards Orlando. Other than that, guys, really not a whole lot happening. And like I said, we need all the dry weather we can get. Moving into this weekend, the same regions that we need the dry weather for the farming is going to stay dry through the weekend. The Northeast and the Great Lakes may see some shower activity as this high pressure system is fighting to stay inland to keep that moisture out of Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas. Guys, it's biting at some time. Now, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota sees a decent shot for rain not until June 29th. That's next Monday. Moving out a little bit further than that, we get a better widespread chance of rain through the Midwest, into Ohio Valley, into the Northeast by the end of the month, July 31st. And heading back into the beginning of August, another high pressure system dropping in from Canada and once again protecting the same areas: Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas. Got a pretty big storm system they're projecting here August 3rd, heading through South Dakota, through Nebraska, into Kansas. We'll watch that as well. But that high pressure system by the 4th of August has no chance of existing, as tons of low pressure is building up, more moisture building in, and it looks like by the 5th of August, we are back to that rainy, widespread pattern throughout the Central Plains and the Northern Plains and the South, the Midwest, the Northeast. Definitely the wet pattern is coming back, according to the GFS anyway. At a time of the year, and look, these storms could be severe, especially right here around the 6th. This low pressure system moving through Nebraska and Kansas, spots of yellow and red moving there. So we could be looking at possibility of severe weather where crops were planted late and are having a hard time maturing in the first place. August 7th, Missouri. There is a region where you guys need to keep an eye out, especially along the Mississippi region, as it looks like we'll have a rain event, multi-day rain event, western Kentucky near the Mississippi River. Also looking at heavy rain. This is the second week of August. And this will take us into near the 10th, the 11th of August. More rain. It's like the atmosphere is reloading up again. So definitely a change in the pattern as we get into August. So if you live in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Kentucky, Tennessee, the South, Missouri, Arkansas, for the most part, for the rest of July, maybe some scattered showers here and there. And then this is where this high pressure system starts to break down and being pushed off into the Atlantic. A chance of rain on Monday. So basically, next 6-7 days is spotty showers at best. A good chance of moisture on the 29th of July. High pressure fighting to move back in by the end of July. But by the 1st of August, you see that high pressure system pushing these lows off into the sea, trying to establish itself once again. But August 3rd, low pressure systems have other plans in mind. And as you see, we enter back into another wet pattern. So enjoy it while it lasts, folks. The rest of this week, for the most part, if you're into weather and storms, this is going to be a boring 8 to 10 days. But for you farmers out there in Nebraska and Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, parts of Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky, where you need this dry weather, you're going to get a little bit more favorable weather as far as that goes. There are a couple of storms to watch across Nebraska and Kansas from August 3rd and then into the second week of August as well. Couple systems move through and possibly causing more flooding to areas that might be starting to dry out and get a grip on reality again, only to see a possibility of more inundating rain. Let's take a look at our temperatures coming up here towards the end of July. Nice little summer pattern here we got going for most of the United States. Highs in the 80s and 70s across the Midwest, but the 90s really are staying to the southwest. Texas, the deep south, Florida might have some upper 80s. Look at these temperatures, July 29th. Parts of Indiana, 69 degrees in Detroit for the high. Sharper, cooler air moving into Minnesota. Look at that, 48 degrees for overnight lows in northern Minnesota, don't you know? 55 and 54 degrees, so we might see some more records broken the end of July even, possibly, folks, in the northern plains. As we move into August, Texas and Oklahoma, it's going to get hot for you. Dog days of summer are definitely prevalent here in the south. But look at these temperatures. August 1st, 70s. Dog days, usually in the mid-80s at this point for most of these states. Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas. Kansas, 82 degrees for August 1st. In parts of western Kansas. This time of the year, it's in the hundreds. Easily. Cooler temperatures still sticking around the Midwest and the Northeast, August 2nd. Heating up a little bit in Kansas into the 90s by the 2nd, the 3rd. And then, you know, that's where that storm system's moving through. That one we need to watch from Nebraska into Kansas. It looks pretty intense right now. Look at the temperature drop from that. 68 degrees. The surrounding areas are only getting in the mid-70s, maybe the upper 70s, low 80s. Meanwhile, spotty heat across the east and the northeast. Heating up along the coast, though. There's that little mini heat wave again in the beginning of August. But boy, not impressed so far with the dog days of summer. Look at that, August 6th. Whew. August 7th, these are overnight lows. Let's not be misleading. These are still low temperatures, but this looks like fall. I hate to be that guy. This looks like fall. Or the beginning of September, not the beginning of August. These are daytime highs. Look at this. August 7th, the daytime high temperatures for August 7th in northern Ohio near Toledo, 71 degrees. 70 degrees along the Ohio River in Cincinnati. 68 degrees near Chicago for a high. 68 in Detroit. 64 degrees for the daytime high in Syracuse, New York. Thor, out there in Maine, look out, fella. 57 in the northern part of your state. August 7th. This is what the agriculture world is fretting, are these cooler temperatures. The crops need all the heat they can get right now. And it's almost like the heat's evacuating the areas that need it the most. August 8th, mid-70s high in the Nebraska area. Kansas again, low 70s across the Kentucky, Tennessee valleys, West Virginia, North Carolina. There's parts that's going to be high of 65. I wonder if there's something wrong with the GFS forecast. I mean, this looks like the beginning of September, folks. Let's be real. Here's August 10th, daytime highs. A lot of yellow and orange in the northeast. A lot of heat in the southwest. That's where it belongs. That's where it lives, especially this time of year. This is as far as it goes out. August 10th. Starting to see a little bit more warmth. But 83, 80 degrees in Toledo, 79 in Cleveland, 82 in Cincinnati, 87 in southern Indiana, 85 Illinois, The heat stays in Oklahoma and South. Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Florida. You guys really were the only parts of this country that's seen summer, in my opinion. And even some of you are complaining that it's not the usual summer. So I didn't get a chance to look at the temperature map today. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was kind of surprised. The last time I saw this, the temperatures weren't this low. And this is a complete change in just 2 days of what we were getting at forecast. So let's hope this GFS is wrong. Let's hope that this is so unreliable that, you know, temperatures bounce back nicely and we see the heat that we need in Nebraska and Kansas and Iowa and Missouri and Illinois and Indiana and Ohio. Let's hope that we get the heat and the weather that we need to help these crops. We are now officially racing the clock on that first freeze. And of course, like I said, and a lot of the reason why we're probably seeing cooler temperatures too in the beginning of August, the midway through the first week and into the second week, is because we're getting a lot wetter pattern as well. And we all know moisture keeps it cool. Murray, did you want to come over here and say hello to the chat while we kind of look at some weather maps as we close out for tonight's broadcast?
Yes, Jake, absolutely. I was just telling people in the chat, the weather, it doesn't seem like we have nice warm summer nights anymore.
It's been cool. Boy, yeah, it's been cool.
You know, and it's been going on for a few years. It seems, I remember, what was it? Let's see, maybe 3 years ago, I spent almost every night outside during the summer using my telescope, you know, gazing at the moon. And I have not dragged my telescope out, and I don't even remember because it's always so cold outside. I'm a wuss, I guess. I'd like to thank Todd Hathaway. It seems like every time he wanted to chat in the chat, he did a super chat. I'm blown away. Thank you so much. Very humbled. He went to the ICCC Climate Change Conference, and he wants to debrief us.
Ooh.
So I told him we would connect tomorrow and hear that. He said a lot of the presenters sort of hit a dead end with GSM because there really isn't any funding to go with it. And I'm like, well, people don't want to cover a natural cycle. It's not sensational enough that it's something so simple.
But see, I disagree with that statement.
Complex.
And I disagree. Well, I mean, sensational, this natural cycle is more incredible than any imaginable man-made weather event ever imagined, in my opinion. What we're witnessing right now is just the beginning. So if this continues to worsen like we've been telling everyone, like it has happened, I can't imagine what sensationalism won't even exist.
Well, it might not be sensation. Maybe I use
no, I agree with what you're saying. No, I agree with you. I get what you're saying.
You can't tax mankind for saying, you know, it's not a good money maker.
Right.
Essentially.
No, you're right.
So the funding isn't there because it's not man's fault. They can't say, hey, the sun is changing, it's your fault. So it's not going to be profitable.
I agree.
And that's the sad truth of it. And you know, you have the climate realists, the global cooling people, the global warming people. I just sit on the fence watching everything in disbelief because it seems like the world is just really confused. And to me, it's very clear what's going on. There's no question what's going on. And we break it down pretty decent. It's so complex. It's not easy to do. So thank you, Todd. We'll connect tomorrow. Let's see. Matt Bros says fields are soft. You have to watch where you drive equipment. He's been harvesting his wheat. Thor is in Twitter jail because he called out a leftist politician. Sorry to hear that, Thor. And then, let's see, Marco, he had some good news. His grocery stores and Walmart and other local grocery stores are stocked well. No shortage. Everything's on sale and everything's doing good. So that's fascinating. I would just like to use that as Another reminder, if you come across anything weird, send us pictures. We are tracking this. I'm not going to let this go. This is something we have to pay attention to. The fact is, we have had shortages this year based on last year's harvest. And, you know, really, last year's harvest compared to this year is nothing. So I feel like the reporting on this year's crop right now, we're not going to see exactly we're not going to feel it until about this time next year. And right now, like Matt Bros said that the corn was only 2 weeks behind silking. I believe that report actually was only for 2 states. They omitted the other major corn growing states. So what are the actual numbers? To me, when you look up these reports, they're starting to not cover the whole picture and omit things, and that's what's concerning me. Let's see. Zixel said dried hard wheat will store 40 years if vacuum packed or stored in an oxygen-free environment. I didn't realize it would keep that long. That's fascinating. So we have a lot of people sharing interesting things in the chat. Thank you for joining me in the chat. I'm trying to use the GSM social more on our website, so if you have an account, pop in, leave us a message. We are checking it more often now, believe it or not. We both were in there today saying hi to people, right,
It's a great website, and what we're building here, and we noticed the other day, the days that we seem to mention this on our website, we get a little bit more people who come in and sign up on our website. It's like a Facebook social media website that Mari has put together, and loving it so far. You're doing good stuff over here, Mar. Well, that's all I gotta say.
It's a labor of love, this website. It's clearly under construction.
I mean, this is the Facebook of Grand Solar Minimum.
Right now we have things. Oh, look, people are adding profile pictures and stuff. Awesome.
We're seeing more people. I mean, yes, we have 165 members on the page. Not that big, but this is a start. I mean, Facebook started somewhere.
This. Look at someone shared like that actuary insurance PDF that goes over Grand Solar Minimum stuff. This was something an insurance convention was covering in 2013 about Grand Solar Minimum. I've come across this PDF a few times, and someone from the GSM social group put that in there, so that was pretty cool.
Well, what is the importance of this, guys, is that we're not going to have people like Facebook censoring you from posting this kind of thing. You are going to be free to post this stuff. It's not going to be censored. This is where we're going to be able to view the information that Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and other platforms have, prevented us from showing. So again, great work to Mari. A lot of people are starting to sign up. We're getting more and more people that are starting to interact with each other and share like this is the usual Facebook stuff. So
yeah, if I see people using it, I'll feel a little bit more comfortable upgrading our hosting service. Our hosting provider is really bugging me about upgrading our service, but they want like $70 a month for it, and I'm very hesitant to do that. I just don't. We don't make any money off of this. So if I see people using it, it'll be more worth it. It'll be more worth it to me because I can watch it grow and I can see it become something. But right now, I do apologize. When I post a rather large article on social media, the site does go down. We crashed the site, like the Valentina Zarkova statement. Did I mention? Oh, I did mention that in the solar update. So that's another thing. Check out that Valentina Zarkova statement. She really does break down her detractors on that paper. And I'll just, we'll talk again. I've talked way too much tonight,
You're
Jake.
fine.
Sorry.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight, Thursday night. Thursday night. Jeez, it's getting late.
I'm all thrown out.
So, again, we'll do a 3 o'clock show on Sunday. We might do a show Saturday. That's still up in the air, but definitely 3 o'clock on Sunday where everyone from all over the world can hopefully tune in and check out our show at a normal time. So, until then, folks, take care, and we will talk soon.